quick little recap on anybody that couldn't just hear that. I asked, would you have believed this year a podium was possible? Gage said no, which I wasn't surprised to hear. Goals this year were consistent top 10s or close to that. Goals before last season was consistent main events, essentially. So now that a podium has happened, what day is it today? Wednesday?
Wednesday.
First of all, I have so many questions I want to ask you. So sorry if I jump all over the place. How did it feel? Like, what were your feelings?
Yeah,
Right when
so
you found out, because
it was pretty unreal. Yeah, it didn't really set in until probably after the press conference. That's kind of when everything kind of hit me, and it was it just to put into words is hard, but it makes everything worth it. Like all the money and sacrifices everybody spent, and the sponsors, and it's hard to justify spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to get 18th and the 17th, but to just reward everybody who put in, like it makes everything so much better. But no, I was on cloud nine, to be honest with you, and I'm trying to. Even Sunday, like I took the whole day Sunday to enjoy it, but then Monday, I had to flip the switch of it's a new week. Like we go racing again in 5 days. I can't keep dwelling on what happened last weekend, and just try to be the best I can be on the weekends. So,
hey guys, before we get back to this video, we're sponsored by Element. If you only just drink regular water, what the heck are you doing? If you drink store-bought electrolytes, probably even worse. If you're sweating, if you're working out, you need to have electrolytes to retain the water that you're drinking. And I've been drinking Element for the last few years. It's changed my life. I was chronically dehydrated before then. I would get headaches all the time. Element has the sodium, potassium, and magnesium that you guys need to retain that water and to keep you hydrated. No sugar, natural flavoring. It's just a healthy version of that store-bought electrolyte drink that you're probably living off of now, or just drinking regular water like Coach Mitchell was forever, which you'd be cramping, you'd be getting headaches, and you'd never be able to survive it. Go to drinklmnt.com/AJCat330. I'm drinking raspberry today, but if you use that code, you can try 8 of the flavors for free with your order. They've been a huge supporter of our channel the last couple of years, so support them and hydrate in the right way. Try Element. drinklmnt.com/AJCat330. Back to the video. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine, just based on the scenario of, that's why I was so mind blown. I mean, I thought it was so cool when I saw the result sheet, but then when I heard the story of the fact that you fell in the first turn, you were getting hand signals from your mechanic, which by the way, when I used to race outdoors, my mechanic and my best friend Rob we never brought a pit board. So our thing is he would literally just flash me hand signals as I would go by every race. So that's just what we did, which is hilarious. So I thought that was funny when you said that. But as I listened to your story, I couldn't help but think to myself, man, you know what? What a better, I mean, that's quite a recipe to have a good result, because you were just in the moment. You were either getting a thumbs down or you're just kind of getting your thumbs up each lap. You weren't thinking about what place am I in, what place do I need to get to. You were just in your moment doing your thing. And that was especially probably important in those last few laps. Had your mechanic had relayed to you that you were in third or about to be in third, I don't know what you would have done, or I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah, and that's what I told him, like after. Like it was either when I got into fourth or sixth or fourth, whatever it was, last 3 laps, I think, he didn't give me anything. And I'm thinking, like, damn, like I must not be doing as good as I want to. And I asked him about it, and I was like, hey, like the last 3 laps, like how come I didn't get those signals? And he told me, he's like, dude, I'll be completely honest with you. They told me you were in third, I think the last 2 laps. And he goes, I couldn't believe it. He goes, I was in shock. And he said, again, I could not tell who you were. He goes, I could see your last name on your jersey when you passed. He goes, but I couldn't keep track. And I told him, I said, well, it's kind of a good thing you didn't tell me. I said, because I don't know how I would have reacted. I said, I probably would have went into not a defensive state, but more of, okay, do whatever you do, do not crash, and thinking of the wrong things. And I might would have crashed.
Did you crash at all after the first turn?
No, so what happened in the first turn after I crashed, I was almost going to pull off. And I told myself, I said, hey, I'll give you one lap. And if you get like almost crash or you crash, I'm pulling in, going to save my bike. And it is what it is. And then I went to where the whoops were. They dozed them, but they were ruddy, but it was like soft in
Mm-hmm.
areas. And I hit one of the ruts and shot off the track and went through a puddle. And I just told myself, I said, all right, I'm going to the finish and I'm pulling in. Like, I'm not going to destroy the bike because water came all over me, like fully over the bike and everything. And I said, you know what? Well, you're going to make it to the checkered and pull in. And for some reason, like the next three sections, I hit probably the best I've hit all day, even in the when it wasn't as wet in qualifying. And I said, you know what? We'll give ourselves one more lap. And then at that moment, I started kind of picking people off and didn't have really no sketchy moments after
Wow.
that.
Wow.
And then kind of after that, it was all right, let's just, go to work and see where we end up.
Wow. Yeah, I can relate to that feeling on in a dirt bike race. And also, have you ever done a cycling, like a road bike race before or on Zwift or anything? So I can definitely relate to that feeling in Zwift races that I've done, in that it's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna hang on to this group for another mile, just another mile," and then I get to the end of that mile, I'm like, I'm just gonna hang on to the group for one more mile, and next thing you know, I've done the whole 20-mile race like in the main peloton, but I did it 1 mile at a time. So essentially, like compartmentalizing, and in Supercross for sure, whether it be a heat race coming down to the wire where I know I'm on that kind of uh, bubble, or performing well maybe in a main event, I have to start in my head compartmentalizing those laps one lap at a time. It just helps keep you present, I think, and not thinking too far ahead. Did you know you were passing a lot of guys, or was it could you not even really tell?
Yeah, so I knew I was passing a bunch of people, but I didn't know how many. And maybe halfway through, I was starting to pass a lot of people, but I was getting blue
Mm.
flags as well. And I thought maybe I was going to be the one getting lapped, and not that we've already started lapping people. And me and Nate Thrasher, I don't know if he went down on the start or went down, but like me and him battled for half a lap, like maybe the second lap. And then after that, like I didn't really pass maybe two or three more guys for another lap or two. But then that's about the time I started getting the blue flags. And I just, at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm probably getting, a lot of hate on the Supercross on the broadcast. I said, but I'm not going to move out of the way. I said, because, we only have 4 laps left, or however many laps it was. I said, these guys are just going to have to go around me because I don't want to, try to get out of the way and crash and then lay there, and started getting the blue flags. And then I got up to, I want to say it was Volan, where the whoops were that they dove, and I passed him, and I thought, okay, like Max won his heat race by freaking 40 seconds. He went 20 seconds faster than I did in the
Jeez.
heat. So I know he's got to be up there, but then it's like, okay, well, did he crash? And I was like, you know what? You can't even think about it. Like, you just go until you see the checkered flag, and if you can get a top 10, that's a win in my book. And if you can't, well, as long as you try, as hard as you can, I kind of understand. But when they told me it was third, I was pretty.
I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. Yeah, I could not imagine pulling off, thinking that you were hoping for a top 10, and then when they would have said third, holy cow, it's just such a cool story. And the fact that you have that, you could retire tomorrow, and it's just such a good story to be able to have. So now, does anything change mentally? Because we're Wednesday, you have a race this weekend somewhere, right? Does it change your approach? Is there anything you can pull from it? It's a mud race, but it doesn't matter. It's like I wouldn't put an asterisk next to it just because it's a mud race. You still have to complete the laps. You have to, yeah. So does anything change? Has anything clicked mentally a little bit more, do you think?
Yeah, so like you said, like it was a mud race, so I'm not going to say it wasn't. I'm not going to say that it did not help me, because obviously it did. But at the end of the day, I feel like that was the best 22 guys that night, and I did crash in the first turn and came back. So mentally, for me, like, it gives me more belief in myself, I should say. And I'm not going to say I don't believe in myself, because I do, but it's hard to keep believing when you're a guy who's getting 14th and then DNF around and then 20th. Like, it's hard to continue that belief in yourself, knowing you can do it. And then to this weekend, or I'm sorry, last weekend, to get third, like, everything, I believe now, I know I can do it, if that makes sense. Like, I believe in my ability a lot more. And even like this weekend, it's calling for another mudder, and I normally suck in the mud. So, like,
not anymore.
Last weekend, I don't know what happened.
Not anymore.
No, yeah. So obviously I don't hope for a mud race, because it absolutely destroyed my bike. But at the same time, everybody's on the same track. I just have to give myself the best shot I can and ride it in. So
it's almost like I can absolutely relate to, for me, it was hard to have the belief because I was proven wrong every single weekend, essentially. Right. It was like I would spend the whole week building myself up, and then the weekend would break me down. I would leave disappointed every single time.